Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Like my hat? Shoot Straight of Tampa. I remember getting this hat one day, I think when I bought a handgun from them a while back. And I noticed when I'm doing my videos, and I got my green screen, which by the way, I got a new green screen today. A real green screen, not a freaking green sheet hanging from my damn wall. But when my light above, which is just a standard light or whatever, fluorescent light, my bald head likes to shine nicely off of that light. And when I use the chroma key, which keys out the green, and I can put little things in the background or whatever, my bald head likes to get keyed out sometimes because of the shininess for some reason. So I decided, now that I got that, it's working great so far, let me block my head, the shininess from my head. So I'm going to educate you today on something that you're going to love to know. Everybody would love to know this. And I've mentioned a little bit about this a few times, and not really too much detail. But when you have a mortgage, and your mortgage company decides, oh, we're going to sell this mortgage off to another company, right? Remember when they packaged the mortgages in a big bundle and then sold them off to another financial institution, and then they took more of those and bundled your bundle into another bundle or whatever, and then sold it to another financial institution. They just kept playing hot potato, and every time they passed it, everybody was just making all this money. At least the banks were. Well, every time the note holder, owner, which is usually the borrower, of course, or not the borrower, the lender, has what is called the chain of title. When they sell that note, so to speak, to another entity, or they bundle it, which is known as securitization, securitizing these mortgages, whatever, they have to basically write off, sign off, etc. There's a chain of title that has to be complete, and then hand it off to the other guy. And then he takes it, signs off on it, physically signs off on it. I am now the new owner of this title, so to speak. Even though it might be securitized and bundled somehow, I still am the owner of this particular mortgage in that bundle. And I signed it, did everything else, and then I sold it off to another guy. There has to be what is called the chain of title. If there is a break anywhere in the chain of title, the banks cannot foreclose on you, and they're hoping that you're too stupid, too ignorant, too uninformed to know any better, and to just say, well, I'm just gonna walk, I'll leave, I don't want to leave, but I'll just leave, and then not stay in the house for several years for free. They're gonna pull the bozo maneuver and just go ahead and move out and go rent somewhere else, or move to another state and rent somewhere else, while their house that they walked away from, wherever they lived, is sitting there. Nobody's foreclosing on it, it's empty, and they just walk like a stupid idiot. Now granted, not all states in this country have what is called a judicial, what is the proper term? Judicial foreclosure process, I guess. Meaning there's judicial states and non-judicial states regarding foreclosing on homes. If you live in a state that is non-judicial, I have to tell you this, and I'm sorry, but sorry about your luck. They can, will, and do foreclose on you, even though what I just told you that they did wrong, they're still doing it, but it doesn't matter because there is no judge to review the case. They just do it and they just foreclose. Sorry about your luck. Florida, and there's many other states that are judicial states, where when you get served for the foreclosure notice, you have, like a standard lawsuit, you've got 20 days or whatever, mostly in Florida, you have 20 days to respond to the complaint, which is the lawsuit, or technically it's a lawsuit in a sense, but it's a foreclosure. You still get to respond the same way as if it was a lawsuit, and you could fight it. And there's a guy that I met online doing a lot of research, and he now works for a lawyer because he was so smart. This guy is had a nice business doing, like, I think kitchen cabinets, or maybe it was kitchen cabinet, not cabinets, counters. He had like 2 or 3 different offices back when things were great, 2003, 4, 5, I guess. 2006 possibly was the last year. Of course, so the whole mortgage thing kicks in and everyone gets collapsed on. Economy starts sucking and he closed up his business, bankrupt, whatever. And his bank, I believe, was Wells Fargo, I think. Pretty sure. And he started doing his own research because he had nothing but time on his hands because he couldn't get a job, and decided, I'm not going to leave my house. I got taken advantage of. They crashed the entire market. Now what am I going to do? I lost my job. The hell with these bankers. They did this, and I'm going to fight for myself. This guy represented himself by himself with no lawyer in court, stopping the foreclosure process. And in the process of him doing this, I guess some of his documentation, his public information, gets put online, and other people who are searching for case law and other things to figure out, well, how did someone handle their case? I have a similar case, and see what the judge ruled on that. And found his case, or somehow found him, and this is a foreclosure attorney who said, look, you're like, in other words, listen, dude, you're brilliant. I know you're not even a lawyer, but the amount of time you spend online researching and coming up with the proper answers, defending yourself pretty perfectly, I would love to have you work for me. I could have you filing the suit, the paperwork in the court. You can drive, do the paperwork, drive down to the courthouse, drop stuff off, pick stuff up for me. I'd like to pay you a good fee, that kind of thing. And you gotta go to bed, okay? You have to go to bed.
Why isn't she in her own bed?
So, anyways, he starts working for this lawyer, and I've been in communication with him because I too found some of his information online and contacted him, say, oh hey, this guy's actually not even an hour drive from me. I wonder how that's going. Long story short, he's been fighting it since 2008, and basically they ended up withdrawing the lawsuit. I don't know what the proper term is, so bear with me, but they basically, his bank or mortgage company, which was Wells Fargo, didn't like withdraw and give up. They basically, there's a procedure that they could do where they just stop. It's just like in limbo, and they don't go any further with the case basically. So I've been talking to him every now and then, just email, hey, how's things going, dude? What's up with their house? Any closure on that? And he had mentioned to me that I'm working for this guy now. He's like, by the way, if you ever get into the stage I had nothing but time on my hand. You, on the other hand, you have a job. It's going to take a lot of your time. You're probably better off hiring a lawyer. Well, then after he started working for this guy, he's like, dude, I can now help you. I'm working for a lawyer who specializes in this, and he charges $3,500 one-time fee, and you can even make payments. And they will guarantee you at least 2 years staying in your house. It'll last. The court case will last at least 2 years. So think about what your mortgage is monthly. $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. How many crap payments could you make to pay off $3,500 if you're not making your mortgage? I mean, you could do that in 5 seconds. So, anyways, this guy has brought a lot of information to me. I studied stuff myself because I was actually going to stop my parents' foreclosure dead in their tracks. But my mom, as I told you, I love my mom, but bozo, sheeple, sister and mom, I got to keep it real. And she wanted out of the house. I don't like the neighborhood either. I want out of the house. You want out of a house that you can stay in there for at least years at this point. Not 2 years, but years now. Because you don't like the neighborhood. So now she's living in my sister's house in a bedroom. Meanwhile, my dad is renting a place elsewhere because they end up splitting up at the same time. And I think that's part of the reason why my mom wanted to get out of the house. But still, one of them could have stayed there. But my mom was just so adamant about getting out. Just the dumbest move ever. So now your credit's shot. Everything's shot. And you have to immediately start paying rent to my sister, of course. But if you're going to do this, you have to do it right? Like the saying is, if you want to play the game, you better know the rules. And you better know how to play the game. Because you only have one shot at this. So if you decide I'm walking for my mortgage, yet you don't actually walk, you stay in the house and just say I'm not paying anymore because I feel like I've been taken advantage of, you can do it, you can even probably do it online possibly, but I'd probably call a foreclosure attorney. Somebody messaged me today, by the way, which is why I'm talking about this, and I'm going to I emailed the guy that I told you about, and when he responds, I will respond to the guy that messaged me in YouTube and tell him what my advice is based off of what he says on doing a chain of title research. And so anyways, let me just stop with that and get onto this article to start with. I want to give you a little background, a little history. You only have one shot at doing this, and you better be in a judicial state, not a non-judicial state. Non-judicial states, you might as well turn this video off because I'm sorry I can't help you. So, as I told you before, I too did the chain of title research on my house. Kids. And found the same problem. Handed it off to that guy, handed it off to that guy, repackaged it, handed it off to that guy, packaged it up, handed it off to that guy, all over the place. And there's all kinds of issues with the chain of title. So as I said in my other video, technically speaking, if there's a break in the chain of title and you win the lottery today and decide I'm going to pay off my house, even though I'm upside down in it, I'll pay it off anyways. Because everybody, for the most part, is upside down in their house. But you won the lottery. Technically speaking, how can they give you proper chain of, since the proper chain of title wasn't complete, there was a break in it, or part of it's non-existent, how can they legally give you that if it wasn't processed properly? Another party in that chain could stand up and say, no, I was the last one. See where the break of the chain of title is? That's us. We were the last ones to hold the note. No one else has signed it after us. And then it's stuck in court. And you paid that bank that had it last, your mortgage now, they're paid in full. Can you really get the title? And I don't know. And when in my research, talking to lawyer and stuff, that's kind of the question we had. And because the answer was technically they can't give you proper ownership of the house, you should probably quit paying. And we see the fraud, or the whatever you want to call it, breaking the chain of title, I would recommend you stop paying. And that's what I did. And when I explained that to my bank, after they kept calling, you know, every month, every couple weeks, you taking notes right now? Yes, sir. Okay, take these notes. My lawyer and I have done a chain of title research on the house. There are major problems. We're looking at fraudulent things happening here. He has advised me to stop making payments due to this problem. And you guys keep sending me letters religiously that say, we are BAC, whatever, blah, 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 LLC of Bank of America, you know, a subsidiary of a subsidiary of a subsidiary of Bank of America, which is how they pass the garbage assets off, by the way, off the books. And we are the note holder of, we are the servicer of, for your note holder, as I've explained before. And it doesn't list the note holder, it just says note holder, note holder. Who is the note holder? Well, we can't give you that information, sir. If you're servicing this for somebody, I need to make sure somebody didn't go bankrupt and that somebody is the right somebody that owns my note, so to speak. Who is it? You'll have to sue us to get that. I have a better idea. You still taking notes? Yeah. You're going to have to sue me, and then once you go through that process, I'll fight it in court, and then we'll go across that bridge when we get there, because then we're also going to have to cross the bridge of the fraud that I found, which looks like there's major problems within the chain of title, and there's a few issues that appear to be fraudulent. And I'm not going to make any more payments because of that, so please put that in your notes. I've got it, sir. That was the last phone call I ever received from them asking for payment. I still periodically get the robo letter, whatever you want to call it, the printout that just gets auto-mailed. Nonsense. And I didn't just do this to do this, by the way, just because I'm, you know, I want to get back at the bankers. There's major problems here. They really committed fraud. They really lied and blew up the market and then collapsed it on purpose, and then shorted the market while they're telling everybody else and their investors, bet, we're betting, no, it's a good market, it's going to go up, and meanwhile, behind the scenes, they're actually shorting the market. Corruption, fraud, you name it. I don't give a crap about that I have quit paying. I don't care. I've been a victim here, and I will fight back, and I will not sit here and do nothing and just, I'll just walk from the house and go somewhere else. You crazy? I'm going to stay in this turd as long as I can, and I will pay that lawyer $3,500 immediately should that lawsuit come here, because I want to make sure they know all of the ins and outs now that he's been doing this for 3 years or so. Everything to look for, not just the chain of title, this, boom, you have a huge case, etc. So, I would like to read you a story, and this is from a few years ago, by the way. almost 09, very end of 2008. And now listen carefully. A circuit judge in Key West, Florida, has denied a motion for summary judgment for foreclosure filed by the Bank of New York as successor trustee to Chase Bank, with the judge ruling that genuine issues of material fact as to the chain of title to the mortgage, which were unresolved, precluded summary judgment for this bank. Although the attorney for the bank filed several documents in alleged support for that bank's right to foreclose, the judge, after examining those documents, found that there was a, wait for it, a missing link in the chain of title to the mortgage between the time it was originated and the time that this bank allegedly became the owner of that mortgage. As such, the summary judgment of foreclosure was denied and the property is not being foreclosed. What we have found to be occurring all too frequently is that the plaintiff, meaning the bank, in foreclosure cases makes an allegation of, hey, we own it. We're the note holder. We're owning and holding the note of a mortgage. Right? They claim we are owning and holding the note and the mortgage. But when pressed and proven in court, there is either no complete chain of title or a broken chain of title to the mortgage between the original lender and the plaintiff, which is the bank, in the foreclosure case. As such, and without proof of a continuous and proper chain of title to an assigned mortgage, it will no longer be business as usual for foreclosure attorneys or their clients, which is the big banks. One of the most outrageous examples of lender misrepresentation occurred in another case in Florida, where the attorney for the foreclosing party, again the bank, in response to a challenge by the homeowner, the challenge was again against summary judgment for the bank, that in this borrower stood up and fought and challenged them, and as to whether the mortgage was ever assigned to that foreclosing party, right? The bank now who's brought this case on me. And let's see. And represented to the court, this lawyer for that bank represented to the court that, quote, we have filed the assignment. What was in fact filed was an assignment which was blank as to and named no assignee. Yet the attorney took the position that this blank assignment somehow, which didn't even name the bank on it, by the way, provided legal standing to foreclose. Again, summary judgment was denied by the court. The lesson to be learned here, and this is what the article says, especially with foreclosure lawsuits, where the plaintiff, again the bank, bringing the case on you, is obviously a member of the securitized mortgage gang. The package sell it all, that gang. Is that you have to diligently and carefully analyze all documents filed by the foreclosing party, which is why you need one of these special attorneys, like the guy I was just telling you about, that I've got contact with. So, we are finding in case after case, again, that the foreclosure party is nothing more than a servicing company or trustee of some sort, and not the original lender. They do not have the documents to demonstrate proper legal standing to even institute the foreclosure case at all. The problem is that foreclosure attorneys have been so used to no opposition that they continue to file bogus documents or no documents at all with impunity and continue to make the kind of arguments such as that's discussed here. This is an assignment. This is a blank piece of paper, you clown. Basically. No signature. Doesn't have their name on it. Doesn't even have the bank's name on it. This is your assignment? Yes, Your Honor. Lawyer, come here. Step in my office. Why? Because you're freaking fired. That's why. So I wanted to share that with you. If you live in a judicial state, judicial foreclosure state, and you ever got a letter in the mail, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, that said, this used to be your mortgage company. We are now your mortgage company. Please now make payments at the end of the month or whatever to this company. And then as soon as you did that, I've had people tell me as soon as I did that, change the banking information, direct deposit, or not direct deposit, whatever, figured it all out. Month later, another letter comes in the mail. Such and such was your previous mortgage company. We are now your mortgage, of course, servicing company. Please make future payments to us now. 30 days ago, I just did this, and now it just happened again. I've heard it. I've heard it over and over again. And it doesn't matter what was 30 days later. It could have been a year later. It could have been 3 years later. It could have been 4 years later. If you got more than one, more than likely more than 2 transfer of assignments or whatever, you are probably, high probability, a candidate of this nonsense that they pulled, improper chain of title or broken chain of title. And you too, if you live in a non-judicial state, or excuse me, if you live in a judicial state, pardon me, you want to be in a judicial state, you could stop paying your mortgage and fight it. But again, don't walk into the court and file a lawsuit. No. Let those clowns file it on you. They're going to have to keep homeowners insurance on it. They're going to have to pay your property taxes, and they'll have to deal with the mortgage. All of it. And it will put a nice hurting on the bank. These banks that got bailed out and continue to rape and pillage us, it can only make you smile when you feel like, hey, I got back. I tried to let the system handle it. Tried to let everything, just like I said the other day. I don't know if I did the video or I wrote this on my website, but all the attorney generals of all 50 states were probing this mortgage thing, the robo-signing thing. Remember Bank of America's CEO? We put a halt on foreclosures for a month. We've reanalyzed the process, and we've concluded that our process was actually fine with the documentation process. We're now going to continue foreclosing. Turns out, not really. They lied to you. And they were part of the suit brought by the attorney generals, and they had all these banking companies that are mainly mortgages. But again, the big banks are the same people. They have mortgages. You know, they have those crap assets anyways. So all the big banks, you guys are all going to get fined, and as part of this fine, not that it was a huge amount, but part of this fine, you cannot do this nonsense with the documentation ever again. No more robo-signing. Okay, we got it. And I just read the article the other day. Again, I don't remember if it was a video or if I posted on my website. Banks caught red-handed again, continuing robo-signing. And you probably think, oh, well, they're just doing it because they can get away with it. But are they really? I bet the banks don't have the proper documentation. That's what I'm going to argue right now. That even if they wanted to do it properly, even if they wanted to do what the court said and said, let's do the proper paperwork, we have to. We just got court ordered to do so as part of this agreement, and they still continue to do it because they have no other option. There is no paperwork. There is no proper chain of title. Therefore, they wouldn't be able to even bring a foreclosure if they followed the court's rules. And when they looked at the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of foreclosures that are in that sphere of not being able to foreclose on, what are they going to do? Stop and just completely blow up? No, of course not. They're going to continue under the radar, getting the stupid sheep, the sheeple, the ignorant people, the bozos. Foreclosure notice. Oh no, we've been behind. We've lived here for 8 months for free. Let's just pack up and go. No, you bumbling idiot. Stay. Stay. Please. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You can only do this once. You only have one shot at this. Stay and fight. Or walk out like a sheep with your head down. Now again, if you're in a non-judicial state, you don't have a choice. You have to do that, and I'm sorry for you. I am. I wish I could help. There's nothing I can say that you could do. But you may want to research on the internet if there's ways of people who live in a non-judicial state are getting away with maybe filing a lawsuit in advance or something to stop it, or I don't know. I only know what is my deal here, and I'm in Florida, and there's a lot of other states that have judicial foreclosure process. I'm lucky to be one of them. So I wanted to share that with you. I hope that helps you possibly make some decisions in the future. And I mean, just being able to stay in your house for a long time. Again, this isn't your fault. This isn't some kind of terrorist act. You were taken advantage of. I was taken advantage of. I didn't just do this without my research. I researched my own deal here, my own paperwork, my own chain of title. I did the research along with the lawyer. Yes, you are a candidate of this problem. Okay, now I will stop paying my mortgage. In other words, I wasn't trying to be malicious and start something with the bank, you know, some kind of malicious activity to hurt the financial system. No, I did the proper steps. I checked my title, or, you know, note, whatever, chain of title. Had the lawyer double check some things. He uncovered a couple more things. Beautiful, thank you. His advice, stop paying it. Stop paying it, because if you find out that you pay this thing and pay this thing and pay this thing, or you magically paid it off today, they may not legally be able to even give you the proper note saying it was paid in full. Someone else could stand up and say, no, we are the mortgage company. That's where the chain of title broke, and we were the last one to sign off. Give me that note back. And then all of a sudden you're in limbo land with two banks. And imagine if that bank you paid off, bankrupt, filing for bankruptcy, then that mortgage guy stands up. You owe us whatever, however much thousands, tens of thousands of dollars that you've been paying them this whole time. You owe it to us. But I already paid them. I already paid them. Give me my money back so I can pay them. Oh, you don't have it? Why not? Oh, you filed bankruptcy. You don't want to get caught in that. You do not want to be in that situation, because you will lose your mind and probably, you know, end up blowing up a bank or something if they took your money like that and then told you to F off. So that's why play by the rules. If you want to play the game, you got to know the game's rules, and you have to play by them. And studying how to defend yourself and doing that kind of thing and foreclosures is a great way to do it. But at the same time, if you don't have time for that, you better find somebody who is really good at it, such as a law firm that is excellent at it. And I happen to know that guy now who lives close by here. So if you're in Florida, anywhere in Florida, potentially, I think. I don't know if there's an area that he won't do or something, but in Florida, contact me and I will contact him and put you guys together. So that's all I got for you. I hope you loved this video. I hope you learned something, because I'm here to educate people on things that I know most people don't know and would be dying to know, and is the most useful information you could ever imagine. Not all my videos, of course, but ones like this. This is critical information, and I get so upset and sad for people knowing that they just walked. You bozo, don't walk. Now you're paying rent somewhere immediately. You could have been in the house for free. And when I say free, no insurance, no property tax, no mortgage. The mortgage company's paying all of it, and they deserve so, because they committed these crimes. And they screwed you because your paperwork's improper too. And again, if you were one of those people that got those notes on, you know, letters in the mail, we changed companies, here's your new company, we changed companies again, here's your new company, chances are very, very, very high you're a victim too. And that's all I got for you. Take care.